Welcome to the Hayhurst Brothers Podcast with your host, Paul Risse.
Hello, Paul Risse here, and I'm with Jake Hayhurst and my friend Matt Tyler.
Everything's fine.
All right.
Let's start.
Hello, Paul Risse here, and I'm with Jake Hayhurst, owner of Hayhurst Brothers, along with Daniel, and with Matt Tyler, my friend.
Daniel's not here, Paul.
Daniel's not here. Did I say he was?
You said along with Daniel, but it's...
Well, he's an owner along with Daniel at the Hayhurst Brothers. Daniel's not here. This is actually Matt. Matt and I worked together in Dallas at Revival Supply. Shout out to Jacob and Garrett and Levi.
Oh, yeah. Good time.
And so Matt is actually an amazing artist, creator, and metal worker. You may have seen some of his recent work in Architectural Digest and a kitchen island he built on the new Fixer Upper series, The Lake House from Magnolia.
Let me tell you, I've seen that piece in person, and it was phenomenal. I mean, it was jaw-dropping. It was next-level craftsmanship.
I agree. Matt has raised the bar for everyone around him. End of quote.
Oh, I messed your quote up, Paul.
So, Matt, we're going to get into a little bit of what you do with your metal work. But first of all, you just finished building your own home. Would you suggest for others to try it, or would you suggest hiring a home builder?
Man, if you have the money, hire a home builder, please. No,
Elaborate.
We just moved in. We're still in the process of building it. Man, yeah, that's a tough decision. And it's there's like a few different lanes that you're in life that are gonna decide which path you go. And for us, we really didn't have money. We didn't have the ability to go that route. And so for us, it was either keep renting or kind of take this big leap of faith and build the house ourselves, which is way harder path to go. But it's possible, and we were able to do that without getting a loan. And so very different route.
Super rewarding, too.
Very rewarding, yeah. Unbelievably difficult. And, we would have loved to get one of y'all's homes, 100%. My wife and I talked about that. We, tried to make it happen. It was like, no, we can't do this in our early 30s. So the path we took was building it ourselves.
Paul's done that, too.
I've done it, and I'm here to tell you, if you want to do the hardest thing you've ever done in your life, just don't have any skills at all and then try to build a house.
Yeah.
And don't have any money either.
And you did it without a wife. So
I did it, at the end, my wife came in, and she helped out a lot.
That's true. With
the Shoei Sugi Bond floors, and she made some good selections.
Nice.
But yeah, it's very, very hard, and so if you ever want to build your own house, take it from Matt, take it from me. It's maybe one of the hardest things you can ever do in the world. And there's a reason why you can hire a professional like the Hayhurst Brothers. And Jake has been a home builder for a long, long time.
I have.
And
I cannot wait to build my own house, Paul.
And I cannot wait for Jake to build his own house. When he does, it'll be the talk of the town or the hill or the mountain.
If it happens. I'm pretty content where I am, but I would like to build a house someday. So you just never know. Obviously, my wife wants me to build her a house, but it takes money and it takes time.
Two things that are hard to get in life.
They are.
Well, money is. Time's not that. Well,
it depends. All you got is time.
Yeah.
Isn't that a saying?
No.
I think it is. I think.
It can be a saying, but I think
it is a saying.
I don't think it's a famous quote.
It's a saying now.
It is now.
There you go.
All right, so we're going to go and we're going to ask Matt a question. Matt, and so just so that you know, if you follow Matt on Instagram, he's had a couple of viral videos. He does absolutely stunning work. He's a perfectionist. Some of the doors he's built, some of the art pieces, the installs, unbelievable. Check him out. But Matt, what gives you inspiration and what takes it away?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
Nice. You're welcome, Paul. I'll answer it. What gives me inspiration? I feel like when inspiration happens, it's unexpected to where I'm not seeking it out. It's just something that I see and it happens. And so there's been times where I see an artist or I see an architect or I see a designer and I'm not expecting anything. I just see this thing in front of me and something about it captures my attention, captures something in me creatively that makes something come alive. And so it's like I can never plan for it. and it could be years between those two where it happens. So it's very unexpected. But it usually comes from seeing something that somebody else has done that I don't understand how they did it. I'm like, it blows my mind. I'm like, I have no idea how you created that thing. And so it like takes me down a path of, I need to figure this out and like answer those questions. Like, how did you create this? How did you do this? And that's kind of what like leads me down the road once the inspiration does take place.
And what takes away inspiration?
What takes away inspiration?
Building the same thing 100 times in a row?
That'll do it. Production work will definitely take away inspiration. Man, I've never thought of that question.
Paul answered it. He asked the question, and then he answered it for you.
Well,
I'm glad because I don't know the answer to that question.
Matt and I have been friends for a while, and I've known him through the seasons, and it seems like if he's in a period where he has to make 600 of one thing, he's less inspired.
It does lose the luster of being creative, for sure, if you have to build the same thing over and over and over, which is where, when I was doing commercial construction, doing big box stores over and over there was zero fulfillment in it, because similarly, you're just doing the same thing over and over, as opposed to creating something beautiful and unique. You're creating the same box time and time again. So.
Yep. This isn't part of the things, but just a thought. Matt is actually a long-distance runner. He works out really hard, and he's a believer. Has there been any, have you noticed any correlation between being in good shape or being in right standing with God that helps inspiration?
Yeah, I mean, that's the foundation of everything. I mean, my relationship with Jesus is the foundation of everything, and I would be 100% be in prison or dead if it wasn't for that. So that's kind of like the foundation that everything else is built off of. But then, I mean, to talk like to the fitness, there's no way that I don't see a way of doing what I do and what we do, especially if you're out there building, like without the fitness. It's brutal on the body, and that's, I mean, time and time again, I'm like, man, I cannot fathom doing this. Whether it's like digging a ditch or climbing up and down a ladder, the fitness, I mean, translates to all that stuff. For sure. Yeah,
you see people in the field that are, clearly out of shape, and you're like, how in the world do they do this day in and day out? Because, I mean, it is. I mean, I'm with you. Being in shape definitely helps the everyday grind of doing what you're doing, for sure.
Jake, can you ask the next question?
Nice, Paul. I like how you have it on paper this time as opposed to on the cellular device. This is you're very
stepping
organized.
up the game.
Yeah, this is good.
It's
Paul.
the last question there.
This one here. Mm-hmm. What is your favorite thing you've built?
What's my favorite thing I've built?
Mm-hmm.
Man, it might be the kitchen island. Nice. Honestly, the house and the island are right there. Where I think the house, there's something more rewarding. But it was definitely less enjoyable. And I think especially once the house is completely finished, I think that will 100%, I'll say that's my favorite thing I've built. Just because, I mean, there's been so many times where it felt impossible. Like there's no way. We've sat at your dinner table and you've talked me through that. Like you just keep going and you will get there. But maybe the favorite thing I would say is probably the kitchen island. I think I had 5 weeks to build it. And it was really difficult. I did all the handles, all the drawers. A lot of it was custom made from scratch, which I love. But
I think that's what sets you apart from other people is you're not just going to Home Depot or Amazon picking things out and putting those onto your pieces. The things that you built are truly custom. I mean, you're building the handles, you're doing all of the hinges. Everything was so beautifully done and seamless, and all the reveals were so perfect. I think that's what really impressed me was the precision within the piece. I guess that's probably why it was featured in Architectural Digest, was because it was so beautiful and perfect. But that was a next level piece for sure.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it was an honor to have the opportunity to build it and to actually execute it. Where there was times where I'm like, man, can I execute this? Yeah. Being able to design it, but then actually execute it and it function properly. I mean,
even to the legs, didn't you have to? You put those on a metal lathe, and you made the legs.
Yeah, I had them turned. Yeah. That was like a detail they wanted was those tapered feet for that kind of mid-century look. And so And so, yeah, that was like, an extra step, but definitely took it to the next level. And then we also had to make them removable so that I could go through the doorway.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that.
Those
yeah.
are important questions you gotta know to ask, is how
Yeah.
wide is the door, all those things come into play.
Nice. All right, guys, we're going to move on to another question. Y'all ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Matt, what services and products do you currently offer?
So currently, I'd say we're a custom architectural metal fabrication company. We specialize in the high-end market, and so that could be anywhere from an entry door to a pantry door to kitchen island, and then furniture as well. So it's really specifically things that are made out of metal. And then I love the high-end side of things because there's the budget there to really put in the detail, the craftsmanship, which is what I really enjoy, is the creative side and the craftsmanship side.
Yeah, we've had Matt build several entry doors for us, and they are second to none. I mean, they are absolutely beautiful. The finished product is amazing, and you have something handmade and truly custom, which it definitely sets your house apart if your entry door makes a statement. And we've been super happy with the pieces that you've put into our houses for sure.
Thank you. That's good to hear. That's very good to hear.
And Matt, what is the best way to reach you?
So website is matttylerdesigns.com, and then Instagram is kind of my other place that I'm most active, and that's also Matt Tyler Designs. So those are kind of the two primary.
Nice. All right, we're going to move into a new section of this here little podcast, and it's Jake and Paul Q&A, and we're going to start with Jen Ditto 10 asked, what are practical reasons for orienting a house east to west versus north and south?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. Paul, is that a question for you, or you want me to answer that one, Paul?
Well, this is actually Jake's specialty. I'll tell you it has something to do with the sun. And I'll let Jake take over because this is actually one of his passions.
Yeah, I do. This is a big part of what we do. So orienting the house and designing it for a specific piece of property is super important. So depending on your piece of property, I always like to orient a house in the manner to where you're getting southern exposure, but also taking into account your sunrise and sunset, because the morning sun is always that nice sun that you want to capture. In the morning is kind of warming up the day, warming your house up, and then in the evening, that west sun, especially here in Texas, is so intense in the summertime that you probably don't want as many windows on the west side, and make sure you have ample coverage on your west side. So, but also taking into account the sunset. So those two things is a big thing. And then also we get pretty extreme wind and temperature fluctuations in North Texas. So trying to think through in the winter, that north wind that comes in that brings those northerns down, putting less windows on your north side, just for the simple reason you're not getting that cold air coming into your house and cooling it off. And then also trying to take into account with your porches and the outdoor living spaces that south breeze. So in the summertime, the spring, the summer, when it's starting to get hot, you have that nice south wind that's coming up from the south, bringing in that hot air. But if you can orient your house in a way that you're able to capture that breeze and it comes through your porch areas, it's going to allow you to spend more time outdoors, spend more time on your porches. What I see a lot of people do, and I try to stay away from, is an alcove porch. It doesn't really work that well in North Texas because it gets really stagnant. So just as you're designing your house, or you're building your house, or your builder is, just kind of think through making sure that your porches can get ample breeze in the summertime.
If you ever walk through one of our houses, which we'd love to give you a tour of one, you'll see how it is set up in person, how it lives. And there's little nooks that are just perfect for the seasons. And that is a passion of the Hayhurst Brothers and Jake's vision for the company. Next question is from the Andrew Merrill 2000. And Matt, I'm going to let you answer this as well, but it's kind of for us, but we'll both go into it. What variables go into a build, and what causes you to decide if it's a fit or a worthy project?
What variables go into a build? I mean,
there are thousands of variables.
Thousands of variables.
Hundreds of thousands.
There's a lot of variables.
Yes.
And so I think, it just really depends. The lot or your property, the site specifics is what really will indicate what you can and can't do. For instance, we're working on a house out at the lake right now where it's an extreme slope and it's just all rock. So you really want to forward think when you purchase your lot. You might want to, prior to purchasing it, get a builder, get someone out there on site to really think through the site specifics. Because for instance, this one, they spent a lot of money on a lakefront property, but then just in retaining walls and tree removal and rock removal, jackhammering, they're $250,000 more before we even start the house. So those are variables that you definitely want to kind of think through. Get someone that knows what they're doing on site before buying your property to ensure that you're not going to get in over your head before you even start your house. I don't know if that kind of answers the question, but
That's a pretty good answer. Matt, I'll let you go ahead and take that question.
Yeah, I mean, building a house is certainly way bigger than what I'm doing. Is I'm bringing an element to the house. So for me, it really comes down to the budget. So there's lots of projects that are really exciting that I would love to build, but the budget, when it comes to actually sending out a ballpark number, the budget just isn't there. And so that's kind of where it starts for me. Is there a lot of exciting projects come in, but the budget's just not quite there to create what they're wanting to do. So that's kind of like the hurdle for.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a hurdle in everything we do today. I think in our line of work too, someone that wants a full custom house their budget's gonna be very different than someone who wants more of a simple life home, obviously. But to get the level of custom that you're doing, it's you doing it with your hands. It's not an assembly line. It's not something that you're going on Amazon and just picking something up and adding something to. You're actually physically building this with your hands, and to do it with that level of excellence, it takes time. In a similar fashion, that's why our custom homes take more money and more time, is because it's a truly custom home. You're doing it a one-off thing for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's definitely an educational side of that. We're kind of having to educate the client because they may not be aware of that. Where they're used to seeing numbers or something at Home Depot, and so that's just like their framework of
that's exactly
what things
right.
cost. And so they're coming to you maybe for the first time, having no experience with custom. And so you're like introducing them to this new world of where they're shocked at the sticker price and they think like, am I getting ripped off? Like what's going on here?
That's exactly right. There's a lot of education that has to go into it. But once people can kind of grasp what goes into a truly custom home or a custom piece, then they're far more okay with it. But you're right. They're like, well, I saw this on TV or I saw this at Home Depot and it was $200. Why is this costing this? But so those are kind of the aspects that it takes to work through whether something is a fit or not.
Good answers, guys. I'm very proud of y'all.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, appreciate it. The next one is from Victoria Jace Fletcher. Hello, Jace. Nice to see you. You had several questions, and we are on a time constraint today, so we're going to answer the rest of them in another one. And so the first one is talk about Aussie Block. Jake, take the reins.
Okay, so we're actually for Jace. We are building a house for them out of Aussie Block, as well as the retaining wall I was just talking about earlier is being built out of Aussie Block. So I'll give a brief kind of breakdown of what it is, but I was actually talking with Kobe earlier today. We're probably going to bring him on because they're doing some really cool stuff with rammed earth and these Aussie blocks. But basically, what it is it's a poured limestone block with agents in it that don't allow water to penetrate. So like take a CMU block or a cinder block. Everyone's probably seen those. They're very porous, and if you pour water on them, the water eventually makes its way through, whereas these Aussie blocks, they're solid. They make them in a 14 by 14 by 40 and an 18 by 18 by 48. I think that's correct.
Yep.
And they weigh about 600 pounds for the smaller ones, and I believe 1,200 pounds for the larger ones. But for this particular project, it's going to be, I'm really excited about it. We're building it out in Jacksboro. The entire outside of the house is going to be built out of these Aussie blocks. So the exterior and the interior is going to be these very cool walls. Kind of the same feel we have in here. You know, you got brick on the outside, brick on the inside, but this is a natural product, and it doesn't allow water to penetrate through it, as well as you get that, I think it's called thermal bridging.
Ooh, good technical word there, Jake.
Yeah.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, but the Aussie blocks are amazing. They're beautiful, very modern looking, with a natural feel. And we're going to go to the next one, Jace again. Use of storm shelters for security with the crazy weather we've been having. Matt, I'll let you kind of talk about a little bit about your experience with storm shelters, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, so we have a storm shelter. It's one that's in ground. It's probably, I don't know, maybe 60 feet from the house. And then we have a friend of ours who had a steel shelter put in sort of their pantry. And the first time we had to go out there, you know, I got the cat in our hand, we got our daughter, we're trying to shield her from the rain. And you're trying to decide, like, do I go out there yet? Like, is it time? Because you don't want to waste your time and go in the shelter and be for nothing. And so usually it's kind of this last minute rush to get into the storm shelter. And so the ground is just covered in mud, you're getting rained on, and you get into the shelter and you're drenched in water, and it's just not a good time. You're getting like scratched by the cat. Versus if you have the ability to get it built in, or you know, you can get it afterwards, have it in your garage. If that's an option, I mean, you could literally just walk out, go to your pantry, grab some snacks, go right back in the storm shelter. The experience of it is completely different. Way better kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Quality of life that you're going to have.
Yeah, we've built several storm shelters in several different manners. You know, we have actually built them poured concrete walls, a poured concrete top in the pantry. So if you're going to be in your storm shelter, you might as well have plenty to eat. We've done them that way. We've done them in master closets. We've done CMU block walls filled with concrete with a poured concrete top. So a lot of ways to do it. And like you're talking about, you can actually bring a pre-engineered and pre-built metal box, steel box that anchors down to the concrete. And though, you know, I think depending, they can go up to like a category 5. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. Sounds like Matt's got one in the ground outside, and he prefers to probably not have that, but that's what you got.
Yeah, it's a great peace of mind regardless. So having one is a great peace of mind, but if you have the option, that would be the direction I would steer somebody in.
And like Jake was saying, if there's ever a storm, you can have a little treat.
Yeah, I mean, might as well.
Yeah.
Might as well.
All right, we're moving on. This person asked, who is stronger, Jay or Paul?
Is it
Jake?
Oh, well, I don't know how they got Jay, but
maybe because you
honestly,
all make fun of me.
I would say it's like pretty hard to say who's stronger, but that's just me.
Paul, let's be honest. Obviously, you're far stronger than me.
Jake called me Tubby. I've never been called Tubby in my life, and
you were getting I think
he was correct. So I took offense properly.
It was just one friend letting another friend know that you were letting yourself go a little bit, because Paul's always been the most fit person I've ever known, and he was starting to get a little bit of a tire around his upper stomach area. So I was just a friend, you didn't have to tell him that I told you that.
Well, I didn't. Well, I just wanted to be honest. But honestly, Jake is way stronger than me at a lot of things. There's like, what's the next question? My mind went blank there for a second. Alexis
Nice, Paul.
Sparkles. Do we have a warranty with the home build? Jake, you want to describe the warranty we have?
We do have a warranty. We have a 1-2-10 warranty. It's pretty common in Texas. So the 1-year warranty is on all craftsmanship of the home. The 2-year warranty is on basically structural aspects, appliances, and certain things. And then the 10-year warranty is on the foundation of the home. So your foundations are warranted for 10 years. That's a pretty typical Texas warranty, but yes, we do warrant our homes for up to 10 years.
Okay, and Alexis Sparkles has one more question. Alexis, I know you had a couple more questions. We'll answer those in a future podcast. Do you prefer slab or pier and beam?
That's a really good question. I think it depends on the site, and it also depends on location. Here in North Texas, I would say 95% of homes being built today is on a slab. It's more cost effective. And so in this area, I would probably prefer slab. If you get a little further up north, a lot of people do build more on a pier and beam foundation. But cost effectiveness here, you're going to be better off with a slab. And so, yeah, I mean, that's probably in this area.
In this area, slab.
Yep.
In other areas, maybe not. And then last one, do we sell house plans? And I'll answer this, yes, we do. They're $3,500 for a portfolio. And then to make changes, there's just a design fee that goes into the changes, and Braden and Dan can handle that. And we've sold a couple the last couple of weeks, and it's for anyone who, like the guy called in yesterday, he said, man, I've been looking at like literally hundreds of websites. I haven't seen anybody that has houses like y'all's, but I'm going to be building between Dallas and Houston. Can y'all come out and build me a house out here? And I said, no, that's outside of our build range.
Nice, Paul. That's a good
But
call.
we would love to build you a house, and you get the full plans, and your builder can have them. And yeah, so if you like our plans and our homes, and you live outside of our build range, then we can sell you plans. And if you live inside our build range,
we can build you a house. You know.
All right, Matt, do you have any words of wisdom or last thoughts or anything before we head out?
So I guess just build a house.
Nice.
Just do it.
That could be the name for the podcast.
Just build a house.
Just build a house.
Yeah, I like that.
It's like a sentence, but I mean, yeah.
Could be more than just a sentence.
That's true. Well, thank you very much for listening and watching, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, we will.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Nice, Paul. Good job.
Thanks.